What's up, Buttercup? Welcome back to my channel. Today's book review is Wilder Girls by Rory Power. Look at that amazing cover. Oh, gorgeous. Love it. This book was published in 2019 and I was attracted to the book by the cover, which, like I said, absolutely gorgeous, and the blurb, which is accurate to the story. It's a young adult horror novel about a virus that hits an all-girls boarding school on a remote island a little bit outside of the United States. The virus is nicknamed the Tox, and it hits suddenly, and the girls and teachers are under a strict quarantine by the government so it doesn't spread to the mainland. Sounds familiar, but this was published in 2019, so no connection to the COVID-19 pandemic. It was just coincidence. We follow Hetty, one of the main characters, a student at school, as she becomes the leader of a group of young students who want to survive not only the Tox, but the other people on the island, because as one can imagine in a situation like this, chaos sprouts with ease. And they are also looking for food and clean drinking water because they're off the coast of the United States, like around Massachusetts area, and they are highly limited in their food and water. It becomes even more serious when girls start going missing. It's one thing where you see someone pass away from the Tox or starvation or dehydration, but there are girls that just are in bed one day and then into the night or early morning, they're gone. You'd think that a deadly virus would be enough, but nope, this is a horror novel. I gave this book 4 stars and just learned there's a prequel short story, so it's technically a series now. I did not mind the slow beginning of this novel because I think there's a lot of setting up to do regarding life on this remote island and how the virus got to the remote island and spread through the teachers and student population. It's not a 5-star read for me because I think there could have been a lot more character development with Hetty and other side characters who join her to create their own survival group. Technically, there are 3 main characters. Hetty is the lead, and then there's Bayet and Reese, but only 2 of the 3 get their own POVs, which I think shows maybe the story is being a little bit too stretched out. If you only give 2 of the 3 main characters points of view in the book, then that 3rd character needs to be a side character, not a main character. Because of that, I think Hetty was the most fleshed out of the 3, but the other 2 were not, and their character arcs were okay, but there is room for improvement. This is a horror novel, even though it's young adult. There's still some gore and body horror, so keep that in mind. Now, I see a lot of complaints about the ending from, I'm guessing, people that don't read horror and just were attracted by the pretty cover or that it's young adult or something else. Not 100% sure there, but saying that the ending sucked because it was too sad, well, I'm sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but that is a horror novel in a nutshell. It is to genre expectation, even though it's written for teenagers. They're not going to completely break away from genre expectations because it's young adult. That's not how that works. There are other ways to go about lessening the blow, so to speak, of the horror genre for younger readers, but having a sad ending or an upsetting ending would not be it, because then you're undermining the horror genre and the expectations that are set in place to make the book a horror. I think it could also have been that Rory was, or still is, I'm not sure, very popular online, and I think a lot of people that didn't read horror but read young adult books were very excited to support her, and we love to see that. But I think they just weren't 100% prepared for an actual horror novel, even though it's written for teenagers. And there were actually quite a few that I've noticed on Goodreads and Amazon where they were adults complaining about the sad ending, but I did not see teenagers complaining. So this is a bit of a adult versus teenager reading expectation situation, which I find fascinating, and it doesn't always make sense, but you know, humans, what can we do? I definitely recommend Wilder Girls if you are interested in young adult horror. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!